Hi, I'm Debbie at Akaija USA, and I wanted to share with you my story about how this energy pendant called an Akaija really changed my life. It starts back in 2016 when the town of Huntington allowed hundreds of cell towers to be built across our town. And I wanted to fight this. And so I founded an activist group called Citizens for 5G Awareness. And together we created videos, news articles. We met with legislators, senators, congresspeople. We showed documentaries at local libraries, and we spoke to groups of people to help educate about wireless radiation and about the issue at hand. After a few years of working really hard, I had to step away because I began homeschooling. And so I was no longer doing the work anymore. And at that time, that was 2019, I received an email from some man in the Netherlands by the name of Wim. He had reached out to tell me that he was grateful for the work I was doing, and he thanked me for that. But he also said that he had something for me, something that could help me while I'm living in this town with all these cell towers. So when I found out it was a pendant, I basically explained to him that as the founder of Citizens for 5G Awareness, I was regularly telling people not to depend on those kinds of things because it could create a false sense of security. If you want to protect yourself, you need to shield from the radiation and be able to test it on a meter. And this kind of thing can't be tested on a meter. And so I explained that I was not interested in the pendant, but thank you for reaching out. Fast forward a couple of years, and now it's post-COVID. I'm not working with the group anymore, and I've been homeschooling. And I'm also not feeling as good. I have some depression, some anxiety, unfortunately. And I'm deleting old emails one afternoon when I came across Wim's. I had never deleted it. And so I reread this email and I did an internet search with Wim's name. And I found an interview that was taking place in Poland. And so I sat down and watched this interview, and 25 minutes into it, I began welling up with tears because what I listened to just felt like pure truth. And it really spoke to me, and I loved his story about where the Akaija came from and what it was. And I was really open now. I wanted to try it. And so I reached out to Wim, who was shocked to hear from me after all this time. This is 2.5 years later. And he sent me an Akaija. 2 weeks later, I received this beautiful box in the mail. And inside of the beautiful box is this beautiful silver pendant that I began to wear. And I'm excited about it. And I felt good wearing it. And I thought to myself, what's going on here? Is this is a placebo effect. Clearly it's a placebo effect, or it's just a coincidence. But after about 10 days, I realized that something was really changing inside of me. For instance, I no longer had worry. All of a sudden, whatever I was really worried about, whatever I spent my time with these repetitive thoughts, just repeating in my head, negativity, they were gone. They were just gone. And I couldn't really wipe this smile off my face, this ear-to-ear smile. I was just so happy. And there were other things too, other subtle things. There was more synchronicity in my life. I felt more guided, lighter. I felt more energetic. There were actually a couple of nights where I couldn't even sleep. I woke up at 3 in the morning and I was up and I had energy and I never felt tired. So it was really interesting what was happening to me. I also felt excited to be alive. I would wake up in the morning and I had butterflies in my stomach just because I was ready to start a new day. And this was very different than the way I had been feeling for the past year. So it really was amazing and incredible. And to this day, still is. I still feel so good, so optimistic, and so peaceful. So if you want to see the video that I watched, the video interview of Wim in the Netherlands, actually, I think it was filmed in Poland, you can see that at, I made an Akaija USA Facebook page, which is Akaija USA. And you can go on there, and I have a bunch of posts there, and one of them is this video that I watched that made me try the Akaija, thank goodness. And I want to also mention that the Akaija, the story that Wim tells, is the Akaija is inspired by Linda, who Wim and Linda were together for 18 years, and Linda developed uterine cancer, and they tried healing it the natural way. They were seeing energy healers and the wrong kind of people that were just in it for money. And unfortunately, Linda ended up passing away. But right before she did, she told Wim that she would inspire him from beyond if she could. And a couple of weeks later, Wim had this intense experience where he saw her in a dreamlike state, and she gifted to him this shape, the shape of the, you can see it back here, this is a big one I have, of the Akaija. And so Wim, being an airbrush artist, he created this airbrush painting, which I can show you here, of the shape. It's called the Aura Healer. Wim didn't know at first that this had healing qualities, this shape. He brought it to his friend Lowe's in the Netherlands, and she's a medium, and immediately she was able to see that it was very powerful, and that when worn within the energy field of a person, that it could have a positive effect. And so somehow the shape creates a brighter energy field, a brighter aura. And if there's any energy blockages, it works through those, creating more flow. And as a result, people feel better. They often feel just more optimistic, lighter, and very often more energetic. It also is the reason why it was able to be demonstrated that using heart rate variability, it's protective against EMFs. And this is why it may have helped me. It was tested in 2012 and again in 2019. And that IGEF certificate from Germany there's a copy of that in the booklet that comes along with the Akaija. Over 20 years ago, when the Akaija was first being developed, some women in Russia heard about the Akaija, and they requested some because they were liquidators at the Chernobyl disaster, and they were working and sacrificing their lives to contain this radiation. And when they had heard about the Akaija, they had hoped that it would help them to continue doing their work. So Wim sent quite a few Akaijas to these women, and they wore them. And you can see an interview with one of these women at Akaija USA on Facebook. She talks about her experience with the Akaija and how it helped her to renew her energy so that she could continue her work, her important work. In Europe, in places like Russia, Poland, the Netherlands, Germany, there are tens of thousands of Akaijas. People have discovered them there. But here in America, no one knows about Akaijas. And so that's why I'm doing this work. I feel it's important with the incredible experience I had, the way that my life completely turned around. I just feel that I want to reach out to people and help them to make this discovery like I did. It really changed my life. But also, there are Akaijas that are 6 feet tall. And I imagine that these would be amazing if we could add them to local parks so that they can do good for a whole neighborhood. Because the bigger they are, the more of an area they have an effect over. And so a large part of our profits is going toward a fund to create these sculptures, these stainless steel 6-foot Akaijas for local parks. When you buy an Akaija, it comes with a booklet that has a lot of information in it, just a small booklet, but it's packed with information. And again, in the beautiful box. I love this little box. And you can get one on Long Island at Ascension Wellness. It's a store on 25A in Huntington, Long Island, Suffolk County. Ascension Wellness is a beautiful spa and shop, and they're selling them there. And we also have a website called Akaija USA, AKAIJA USA.com. If you live outside of the United States and you would like to purchase an Akaija, you should go to akaija.com. That's WIM's website. It's an extensive site where there's so much information, so much to be learned, and you can order there. And that's it. Wishing you love, light, and truth. Thanks for listening.